What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty P here with another episode of Steelers Touchdown Under, and we have the Steelers making two trades. I almost recorded a video saying the Steelers would make no trades before the deadline, or if they did, this is the position they should draft, and I'll tell you what that is at the end of this video. But no, the Steelers have made two trades. They have traded a 5th round 2025 draft pick for Mike Williams, wide receiver out of the New York Jets. Long time rumored the Steelers are getting a wide receiver too. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the Steelers in the move in the last sort of hour or so, depending on when this goes out. As I record this thing, it's about 40 minutes. Preston Smith, outside linebacker, DE in a 4-3. Obviously, outside linebacker in a Steelers system. Can do a little bit of things with that Liao does as well, being about 260, 270 pound. He is coming in to the Steelers for a 7th round 2025 draft pick. So if you don't think that the Steelers are all in on this season at 6-2 with Russell Wilson back, with the defense firing, they are. That's why you make these moves. So that's the headline part. The Steelers obviously think they can do something this season, as do I, as do most fans. People up there hating, people will come back to me in the comments. Some people will say, oh, what about Tomlin? These are big moves. You're taking 2 picks out of your draft mix next year. Have Steelers over the last 10 years, when you look at it, of their 5th and 7th round guys, have actually had not like very few have played out their rookie deals. So look, we've got the 5th and 7th round guys sitting there injured right now, and multiple years in a row, like your Trices and your Ryan Watson, guys like that. So from my perspective, I think it's a good move from Omar. I like it. You can get a 5th and a 7th round pick back with other moves you want to make in the offseason very easily. You can trade back in on draft day, all those good things. So you can trade future picks as well, in other rounds. So I'm not phased about that. The compensation in terms of draft capital to both teams is fair. So what does Preston Smith bring? We'll start off with him. That's a big deal, I think, for me. This is a guy that has a career of 68.5 sacks, 71 tackles for a loss, 155 quarterback hits, played 10 years in the league, super experienced between Washington and Green Bay. This is a guy that hasn't missed a lot of games either. When you look at this list, he's played, 155 games over 10 years, as average of 15 and a half games. That's pretty good, from my perspective. I think that you can't argue with that. The other thing that stands out to me is 27 pass defense. That's pretty significant as well. If you think of when he's lining up in an outside linebacker system, which is where the situation he was at in Washington, with their defense as well. If you look at him compared to Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt, I wanted to show that, like, I could have compared him to a bunch of guys, and we'll probably do a deeper analysis of Preston Smith in the coming week. But when you look at him, he's played more games than Watt by 40. He has a higher AV, for those of you out there that know about AV with Pro Football Reference. Basically, it's a statistical comparison between players that's weighted against points. But 68.5 sacks. Alex Highsmith only has 32.5. Alex Highsmith has played has played only 40% of the games that Preston Smith has. Obviously, we know TJ's there with 103. This is a good level of experience. This is like, if you think back to when they brought in Melvin Ingram a few years ago, and we liked that, this guy's 2 or 3x value in terms compared to Melvin Ingram. So I'm really happy with this in terms of acquiring Preston Smith. It is the rest of the season. The money, I don't think you don't expect Preston Smith to be a long-time Steeler, even if they do a re-sign. But this is the sort of move you make when you think you're going to win a championship game, when you know you've got it tough down the stretch. Herbig was listed on the injury report this morning as well, was listed again with some hamstring issues. He wasn't fully ruled out, though, from what I saw. So again, this is where you want to tool up. You want to have 4 or 5 guys at outside linebacker, and Jeremiah Moon sitting there as well. You want to see those guys be on the roster so that the Steelers have that depth in case something bad happens. Plus, with Moon, the way that he's been playing too in the roster, they can put him back to the practice squad, and I still think they can elevate him for 2 games. But I might be slightly wrong there on that, but I'm pretty sure that's still possible for him with his eligibility this season. All right, wanted to keep this snappy, wanted to keep this short. Mike Williams. Mike Williams joins the Steelers, the big 6'4", 218-pound wide receiver, formerly of the LA Chargers, went over this season to the Jets, was rumored, to do a visit with the Steelers, did about a $5 million deal with the Jets. And this is where, and yet he's landed with the Steelers. And hey, good for him. good for him. Steelers doing better than Jets. This is a great thing for him. Equally, with the Jets acquiring Devontae Adams, this probably made him more available. The Steelers could have had another chat to him while he was in New York. That definitely, things were sort of there. There was a rumor that a deal had kind of been done, but at one point that weekend, and it was just waiting till the Jets went back home, and after the game, and there was the correct distance between things. All that sort of stuff. But look, Mike Williams, the thing I love about this, the big pro I think about this is this doesn't really disenfranchise George Pickens. That's very important. We want George Pickens, we want everything to go smoothly and seamlessly with George Pickens as he continues to develop. I still have high hopes for him. And so I like this move because this doesn't challenge the authority with Pickens. The second reason I like this move, a lot of people are going to talk about 31 touchdowns, whether they think that's enough or it's not. A lot of people are going to talk about it on an almost 5,000-yard receiver with 321 receptions, who has been injured a bit the last few years, has not really done much yardage-wise since 2022, where he had just under 900 yards. It's been almost 4 seasons since he had 1,000 yards. He's only ever had 2 1,000-yard seasons. The thing I like most about this bloke is the yards per reception average of 15.5. Why is that important? That's important because George Pickens has a really high yards per reception average. And what it shows is that he can go and get those combat catches, but he's going to make plays that win you games. But it's not just the throw it up to the tall guy. We saw him do this against the Steelers. He made a crucial 3rd and long catch that got a first down for the Jets, and it kept their drive alive. And he's got 227 first downs in his career from 321 receptions. That's more than every 2/3 of his catches go for first downs. And that high yardage reception rate. And his average depth of target, they don't do it over the course of his career because it was measured 1 year back. Average depth of target for him, though, of when he's actually receiving the ball, his distance to the line of scrimmage, 14.8, 17.8, 14.5, 11.6, 12.0, sorry, 11.8, 14.5. The average of his is 15.5, and only one season was his average depth of target more than his actually average reception yardage number. So this is what I like about him. This is a guy that you're going to be able to make plays with. This is the sort of guy that you need in the system when you think about what Russ had in Seattle between Baldwin and Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. You bring in another big guy here. You've got Pickens. You've still got Van Jefferson. You've still got Calvin Austin. We don't know about Rome Wilson. It also takes the pressure off Rome Wilson. So there are a lot of pros to Mike Williams coming in. Very low compensation from a draft pick perspective. I don't hate the move. I would have liked Cortland Sutton as well. I would have liked Terry McLaurin. Anyone else all season, anyone that's been watching my channel knows I've not been, for a top tier wide receiver. That's not what this is. This is a good situation for Steelers. If he likes it here, maybe he signs a 2-year cheap deal. 1 year where it's like it's next season and the other one's like a player or a team option. But I really like this deal. I think this is helpful. I think it's helpful for Russ. And it again demonstrates that the Steelers think they're in the mix to make a difference this season and go further than they have before. I like it. The con artist is back doing what he does best. The one criticism I will say, which was what I was going to do a video on about no trades, and I thought, I'll wait. I don't want to put negative hate out there on a day that's very divisive over in America. Just remember, no matter what happens there, you're all American, you're all fellow countrymen. Stay united. It's one of the best things we love about your country, believe it or not, from the outside, that you guys are united and a lot more united than you think. But the thing that I was going to say was that if they were going to trade for any position, the position I'd want them to trade for would be a guard because of the injury to Daniels, because of the depth behind McCormick. They haven't made that move. Now, the trade deadline's just about to expire. Maybe that move happens while I'm doing and producing this video. Maybe it happens. If it doesn't, fine. But that is kind of one move that I was like, I'm not sure going down the stretch what that means. But we'll see. So, and they did look, they got all the ex-commanders got Sharping, Max Sharping, as well. So he can go in there if they absolutely had to. But that's a position that sort of concerned me a little bit as well. And as Mikey D said to me when we were playing COD last night, You can also have the situation where you could have thought about getting a DL, and technically they've got that with Preston Smith, and now they've got versatility in the formations they can do. But you let me know in the comments, which do you like more? Do you like Mike Williams more as the pickup, or do you like Preston Smith more as the pickup? Let me know. As always, go Steelers.